Jeb Burton loses sponsor and ride. And I want to touch on something. This happens a lot more often than people think. I'm going to go all the way back to 1971. According to reports, the sponsor on Jeb Burton's Turner Scott Motorsports truck has defaulted, which basically put him out of a ride. They're going to run one full-time and one part-time team this year. I believe the sponsor was Arrowhead, but frankly, that's not important. Also want to talk about it's happened before. 1971, basically after the 1970 season, the factories pulled out of racing. A man named Chris Vallow commissioned Ray Nicholas to build a Pontiac for David Pearson, three-time Grand National, as it was known then, champion, who had left the Holman and Moody team during the 71 season in the dispute reportedly over taking a cut in percentage of winnings. And of course, Bobby Allison came to the team with sponsors that year and won a bunch of races before the team disbanded. Reportedly again because John Holman and Ralph Moody couldn't get along. And I'm not accusing anybody, but I just want to point it out. It was reported in the Chris Vallow Ray Nicholas deal that Chris Vallow wrote a $1 million check to Ray Nicholas that was no good. It was reported. I'm not saying it's true. It also was reported that Chris Vallow died penniless in prison. Don't know if that's true or not. I'm just going by what's been reported in various media sources, Facebook, and let's talk about another car owner that had some history. Car owner and sponsor, Jim Stacy. First came on the scene. He bought Nord Krusloff's team, or the former K&K Insurance team, in 77. Harry Hyde prepared cars, Neil Bonnet driving, actually won a race or two in 77. In fact, they were the last win for Dodge till Dodge got back in the sport a few years ago, or any Chrysler Corporation produced car. There was lawsuits reported between Harry Hyde and Jim Stacy. How they come out, I do not know. I know Harry Hyde has passed away. I believe Jim Stacy has passed away. Then Jim Stacy resurfaced around 1981, sponsored a whole bunch of cars. It was reported that he was in the sport in 81 and 82 and maybe a little bit in 83. It was reported, again, I don't know if it's true, that he defaulted on every one of them. He had as many as 7 cars he was either owning or sponsoring. Owned 1 or 2 cars. I know Mark Martin drove for him for the first few races of the 83 season. Then they fired him and brought in Morgan Shepherd. And I frankly thought that was a mistake, and kind of looks like Martin's proved me right. Now let's go to some more recent history. And I don't remember the year. Darrell Waltrip, I don't even remember the sponsor, and it's not important. It was the year Steve Park got hurt at Atlanta in a practice crash and was out most of the year. Frankly, DEI, in my opinion, made a mistake. They should have, and they were allowed in them days, I don't know about now, to abort one run for Rookie of the Year. I frankly thought they should have kept Park out of the car for the year, but I'm getting to that. What happened, Darrell Waltrip announced after, Bristol was the next race after Atlanta, and Darrell Waltrip announced the sponsor had defaulted. He was going to go to Darlington the next race, run a Tim Flock tribute car, and did, basically out of his own pocket. Then the side story to that was the end of Darrell Waltrip running his own team back then. But this was in the twilight of DW's career. And I remember telling my mother when I read that, as I remember, we were in Atlanta and Phil Parsons had tried to make the race in a backup car with no practice. This was back when they had 2 days of qualifying and almost made it, and probably if the second day hadn't rained out, would have made the race. But the second day of qualifying rained out, and Phil's time wasn't good enough to stand on. But thinking they could get a little more speed, but unfortunately for the young DEI team at the time, qualifying rained out and they were unable to make the race. Then they went to Bristol the next week with Ron Hornaday. Didn't make the race. And might have been Darlington then Bristol. I don't remember how it went in them days. But and just a side note, I remember telling my mother when I read that, I said, Darrell Waltrip's going to be in that one car. And she said, you're crazy. Darrell Waltrip drive for Dale Earnhardt? I said, yeah, it's going to happen because of the Champs Provisional. No, Darlington was before Bristol because I believe Darrell Waltrip was in the car at Bristol and had to use the Champs Provisional. But probably the best runs Darrell Waltrip, I'm getting off track just a little, the best runs Darrell Waltrip had were in the twilight of his career, were in that number one car. Had some good runs in it, come close to winning a race. And frankly, I thought they should have kept him in the whole season. Canceled Steve Park's run for Rookie of the Year, which they would have been, they had not run enough races to make him ineligible to run for it the next year. But yeah, this sponsor defaulting happened, and I'm not accusing anybody, I'm not saying they defaulted, I'm saying what's been reported, just to make myself clear. I'm not saying Chris Vallow didn't pay Ray Nicholas. I know Ray Nicholas has passed away. I believe Chris Vallow has. But this is what was reported in media. Same with Jim Stacy, and like I say, I don't remember Darrell's sponsor. It's just been kind of my take. But what people don't realize is sponsors defaulting or getting accused of defaulting happens more often than you think.